I was talking to one of my students for my one-on-one mentorship today, and we were just looking back on his progress ever since he started. It's his third week, by the way, and we're looking back on his performance from when he just started and his approach in trading before he joined the mentorship, and comparing that to the current point of where he's at in terms of the mentorship and our program and how much he's learned. And we were talking about it, and one thing I brought up to him was that before he came to me, the first day we hopped on our call, the first call we hopped on, I had a good understanding of his strategy. He explained it to me, and he didn't have a very structured approach. He had a kind of style that he liked trading, but he was also incorporating other stuff that he saw on the internet. And if you're watching this, by the way, I'm using it as something to show other people that how big of a change you made, how big of an improvement you made. So I wanted to mention that he wasn't trading as strict of an approach, right? He wasn't very restricted. He was trading maybe one style he favored, and he was including other styles as well from something maybe he's heard on social media, potentially some stuff he's seen from people making money online through whether that be some sort of different supply and demand strategy or support resistance strategy or fair value gap strategy, whatever it may be. He was incorporating some other stuff into his system because he wasn't really unsure what to stick to and what to use long term and what works long term, because he sees people on social media showing that they're making money using one side of approach, but then he also sees people making money from another style of other style of trading. And especially for someone who's on the internet all the time, you can see people making money with numerous different styles of trading, and you can be kind of overwhelmed not knowing which one to trade. Right now, the funny thing about trading is that there isn't just one way to trade. All these guys might just even be profitable their own way of trading. Of course, you got to be skeptical and see, are they actually profitable with their methods, right? Because there isn't really one way to trade the market and actually make money from it. And that's kind of what I wanted to cover in this video, which is you need to individualize your trading to your own preferences and the way your personality works. I think I mentioned it a little bit before in the series, but I want to mention it again because I can't stress how important it is, because especially watching this happen numerous times and again being shown to me how individualizing your approach can significantly benefit your trading performance and your results. And I saw that happen literally within the span of a few weeks after talking to someone who had a very unstructured, whatever you can call it, approach, and then helping him find a way to trade for himself using a style that he's loved to trade and building a strategy around that. Okay, that's pretty much what I taught him. And if you guys need help with teaching that, you guys can work with me one-on-one. I help you guys build your own approach and trading strategies. But I helped him find his approach in trading and kind of break down the way he likes to trade into a set of rules, so he knows how to trade going forward with an approach that makes sense to him and not just randomly trying to jump onto the next shiny object that he sees on social media. Because it can be very, very tempting seeing people make bread on social media using their strategy when you're on a losing streak and think, wow, they're winning while I'm losing. They're doing something right and I'm doing something wrong. If you haven't watched my previous video, which I covered about discipline, I think it was the one before that about discipline, you should watch it because it talks a lot about how that's a very flawed mentality and way of looking at people who are trading the markets or people who are successful even. Because in trading, if you guys didn't watch the video, I'm just going to quickly go over what I'm trying to say, which is in trading, you should have a very probabilistic, is that a word? Probabilistic mindset. Basically, you should view things in terms of probabilities because trading is all just a numbers game, right? You need to have some knowledge of statistics and numbers overall to be able to actually understand what you're doing and people in the trading space. So one trader might be on a win streak with their strategy, but you don't see the bigger picture. You don't see what they're doing on a long-term basis, if they're even successful on a long-term basis. They could have shown you their winning trade for the day, but they didn't show you the 5 losses that they over leveraged on before that. They're just showing you the winner that they took today after those 5 losses. And those 5 losses were so huge to the point where this one win that they took, maybe it's a 1-3 short, maybe it's a 1-4 even, or a big trade, whatever. It still wasn't enough to eat up their losses. They're still negative. So you got to look at the bigger picture and the larger number of trades and see how are they performing, right? And let's say they just started trading the strategy. let's say they just started trading the strategy and they started winning just recently when they're first starting off. You have to let the probabilities play out. You can't just randomly gauge someone's success and someone's profitability and their performance just from briefly seeing a few trades on their social media. 10, maybe even 20 trades is not enough. Okay, you need to track their performance to the T over 50, 100, 150 trades, right? That'll give you a more accurate sense of what their performance is like. So seeing a few trades on someone's account and their winners, them posting their winners is not going to be enough. It shouldn't be a deciding factor for you to want to switch your strategy, learn something new, or hop onto the new trading strategy. And same goes for you. When you're on a losing streak, you also have to look at the bigger picture, right? If you just started trading the strategy, it's been 5 trades, maybe even 10, 15 trades, and you're still negative, you have to let the probabilities play out. That's not enough data to know if your strategy is profitable or not. Some strategies are going to have all strategies are going to have different equity curves, meaning different sequence of wins and losses compared to one another when you compare one to another. So you shouldn't compare your performance to someone else's if you see that you're losing one day and they're winning another day, or you're winning one day and they're losing one day. You're like, no, I'm right. I'm better than them. I predicted the market better, because you're not. It's not all about predicting. It's about being able to react to the market and being able to make money long term and having an edge long term while locking down your psychology. Right? Got to have those 2 things down. Those 2 things are the main key components to actually winning in the markets, which also isn't really what I wanted to cover today. The main thing I wanted to cover today is you need to individualize your approach in the markets. Meaning you need to personalize your way of trading to a way that makes sense to you the most, the style of trading that you have the most experience with. Because if you guys have watched my content before, you know I'm very in favor of saying trading is just finding an approach that makes sense to you, a way of viewing the market that makes sense to you, a strategy, which is just your perspective, or you can call it your lens to view the market. And the market itself is all the same for all of us, right? We're all trading price action. We're all trading the underlying movement of the candlesticks. We're all viewing the same thing. It's just the way we view it is different. The way we categorize that price action is different in terms of the frameworks that we use. My way of viewing this price action is going to be completely different than the way someone else might view this price action. So what makes you think that me and that person should be having the exact same performance, trading the exact same strategy? It doesn't make sense. We shouldn't even be trading the exact same strategy to begin with, because if you analyze any profitable trader or any 2 profitable traders, you'll see these 2 don't have the same trading styles. That neither of them they might think similar at best, but never the exact same unless they're copying each other. But it's never going to be the exact same. A lot of you guys, if I ask you guys to tell me an approach of trading that you love to trade, that makes sense the most to you, I'm sure you guys have one in your head right now. You know an approach that you love to trade, a style you like to trade, a style that makes sense to you the most, helps you categorize the price action in a way that makes sense to you the most. God, my voice is so bad from me getting sick. If you guys heard me from the previous videos, it's getting better though. Quick water break. You guys all know a way of trading that you favor over another, or favor over any other style. You guys need to leverage that and understand the ins and outs of one approach and master that style and framework of viewing price action. Because that's all there is to a strategy. Mastering one framework, one way of viewing price action, and building rules around it. That's exactly what I did for 2 years. That's exactly what other profitable traders did for years. And it's not something that happens overnight. The student that I'm working with that I brought up earlier, that's part of my one-on-one mentorship, has been trading their specific framework or style of trading for years. They have been watching price action form in that specific framework, in that specific strategy for years. So they had the experience down. They just lacked the discipline with following their rules, having their psychology locked down, not jumping onto the next shiny object whenever they're trading or seeing something on the internet. And guys, if you haven't heard me talk about it earlier, the internet, not earlier, but in previous videos, but the internet can be your biggest enemy in trading. It can be your biggest enemy. That's honestly, it can be your biggest enemy and your biggest friend. Why? Because I personally got into the markets because of the internet, right? I got heavily involved because of the internet. I learned a lot because of the internet, but it can also be your biggest enemy because since there's a lot of information online, it also makes it prone to a lot of misinformation. So could be even sending you backwards, cutting you down, or making your learning curve extended by months and months and months, because now you might be learning information from someone who's not trustworthy, someone who's not credible or legitimate, and that will build bad habits in you and push you back and push your success timing back by months to even years, right? Adding hundreds of hours and hours of work because now you have to unlearn bad habits because first you thought they were good habits and then you learn them, spend time learning them, and then after some time you realize how bad they are. Then you have to shift back and break those habits, and it's just the process of learning how to day trade, right? You can't. So for some of us, you just can't avoid it because you don't have the set guidance. You don't have a mentor. So you're basically on your own trying to build some foundational knowledge based on what you deem is valid and not valid, which is not smart because you don't even know anything about the market. So why would you trust yourself to deem something as valid and not valid? Right? You're just going with whatever fits your mindset the most. And that's very, 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 very risky because that can leave you prone to bad habits, like I mentioned earlier, and potentially adding on hundreds of hours to your trading experience and trading learning curve. And we want to minimize that. That's why I tell you guys, if you have the money to invest in a mentor, do so because that will help you shave down hundreds of hours, potential hours spent learning the wrong things. A mentor, one that's actually successful and one that's actually knows what he's talking about, will help guide you in the right direction, guide you on your basic foundational knowledge to at least help you build a fundamental framework of understanding what is BS, what is noise, and what is not BS in the markets, so you know how to approach the markets in the best way possible. Because even though you might even have a successful mentor who's the most profitable mentor ever, but he still won't be able to teach you how to trade and be profitable like him. Why? Because we are all different. Our personalities are all different. We don't think the same. We don't trade the same. Like I mentioned earlier, you all your experiences you have building you up to this point today is completely different than that person's. So their style of trading might not fit the way you want to trade because of your mindset coming to the markets, your trading goals, and what you're looking to do long-term with trading. Along with that, all the experiences you have coming into the markets, the emotions and the psychology you have. One thing might work for one trader, but it won't work for another trader. Right? It's all about, like, I might be profitable with my methods. Someone else might even be profitable with their methods. And you might go and try to learn my methods and maybe it won't work for you, and learn someone else's methods and it won't work for you either. But one thing that might not work for me and might not work for that guy might work for you. That's why you have to go and just execute, trial and error your way through this market, because there's no way of just copying someone and just expecting it to work out. Again, because trading is not just robotic behavior. Unless you have an algorithm running for you, that's a whole different story, right? But this involves some sort of, people say minimize your emotions, but honestly, so they say eliminate your emotions, but you can't eliminate your emotions, right? You can only minimize them and not allow them to take control of your trading, right? The logical side of your trading. Like I heard somebody mention this about trading overall, about like emotional control. And the phrase they said was kind of like, you don't want your emotions to be, imagine you're driving a car, right? You have your logical thinking on one side, you have your emotional thinking on the other side. And the passenger seat and your logical and like the driver's seat. You don't want to switch seats and let the emotional trader be in the driver's seat and the logical trader be in the passenger seat. You want the logical trader to be in the driver's seat and the emotional side of you to be in the passenger seat. Not really driving the car, not really steering, not really controlling the flow of the markets, just maybe giving some input here and there, just going based off a little bit of your intuition. By emotion, it's almost like your intuition. That's what I mean. Emotional trading, like FOMOing and over trading stuff that's not part of your strategy, that's something you should completely get rid of. Toss them in the fucking trunk, matter of fact. That shit should not involve you. But more so about intuition, that should be the passenger side, where you trust your instinct, you trust your gut, you trust your subconscious reasoning to help guide you in the right direction with with your trading, with the markets, along with your logical brain, which is kind of you using your rules and your strategy and your experience of you building your strategy and you testing your strategy to guide you in the right direction in terms of trading. So that's pretty much what I wanted to cover. Just individualize your approach. Make a style of trading that makes sense to you the most. Don't fall under the social media FOMO, where you see someone making bread off of their strategy and you want to hop onto their strategy after years of using yours. Or maybe someone steering you in the wrong direction, even if they're profitable themselves. Because in the end, at least you should know what's best for you. Learn how to, if you don't, learn how to make good decisions. But if something's working for you, keep doing what works. And if something's not working for you, then you probably need to switch up what you're doing after some time of it not working for you. Or you need to switch up your way of doing it. Not entirely what you're doing, but the way you're doing it, right? Because if it's not working for you, then it's not working for a reason. If you've let it play out for a decent amount of time and it's not working for you, you need to switch up how you're doing things, right? To a point. Not completely, but to a point. Right? And having a mentor, having someone to guide you and put you in the right direction and keep you accountable can be very, very helpful in these scenarios, right? Because it took me my first 3 years to turn profitable. In the first 3 years, I've never invested in a mentor. I don't know what it's like being the mentor. It's my first time even being a mentor, teaching people, right? I've never been a mentor in a past life in something else. This is the first thing that I've put so much time into, been really, really good at, put a lot of effort into learning and being good at. And now I'm sharing the knowledge with you guys in hopes to guide you guys in the right direction, right? This is not like college where there's one defined approach to getting to success and getting that paper. You have to follow this approach. Right? If you guys find a better way of learning than I do, you guys can be that one person, 1 out of 100, 1 out of a million who kind of figures out the new method to trading, to master trading at a quicker approach, at a quicker rate, right? But for now, I'm teaching everything that's worked for me and the things that I've learned over the past 4 years of trading that has worked for me and got me my success and helped me make almost practically 6 figures in the past year. So yeah, that's going to be the main gist of this video. Just individualize your approach, find a framework that makes sense to you the most and stick to that, right? Focus on that it will take you a lot longer than months. Most likely. There are some exceptions, but it'll most likely take you longer than a few months. So master a framework, master a way of viewing price action, and don't think one person's way of viewing price action is better than another, right? Master your way, focus on your way of understanding price and cut out the noise. Don't let distractions on the internet push you away from you and your approach. All right. My voice is disappearing. I will catch you guys in the next video. Individualize your approach. Focus on yourself. Take care, y'all.